Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to our channel, Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, because we have it. Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Latika. And we are in the 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge. So it's not that Krishna is a secret. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's more that we, on account of not being so eager to have that close connection to Krishna, we've chosen this material world, and Krishna gives us that freedom. So therefore, when we've been here for a while, and we've all been here for a while, lifetime after lifetime, we're so conditioned to this material conception of life, to this bodily identification, that it takes a while to turn around and see things from a different perspective. So now we're 9 chapters deep into the Bhagavad-gita, and hopefully we've put some doubts to the side, gained some understanding, gained a new perspective. And now here we are coming closer to Krishna, so we're actually getting to know Krishna. We were reading the last few verses. It's so poetic and it's so cosmic. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated in the end. So that's where we are up to now. So I'm reading text 9. Nachamang tani karmani Nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktang teshu karmasu. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. So here's an interesting thing. How do we look at God? What is our conception of God? Of course, a lot of people have no conception of God because it's not really part of the modern narrative, the how to say, how we look at the world is kind of like a story we're telling ourselves, and then things that fit in the concept of the story, we can embrace them, and things that don't fit in, we kind of manage to not see them at all. Since the idea of God is not so considered so relevant in the modern day, maybe a lot of people don't look at God so much at all. But those who do, both from the perspective of actually wanting to connect to God, or from their perspective of, we meet them also, we meet the atheists that are so feel so strongly about the whole God thing, that from a negative perspective that they talk about it a lot. We can see God in different ways. We have this simplistic faith of a child that God is like the big father, and before you go to bed you pray to God to keep your soul safe during the night. And then you have more evolved ideas that sometimes also fit in with different Vedic conceptions, because the Vedas is a vast body of knowledge, and although Krishna is very clear when he points out that the absolute realization, the absolute truth, is how we as souls connect to God, there are many schools of thoughts that are on the path, so to say. There's the impersonal thought, the idea that God's energy is what everything rests in, and the goal of life is to just merge into that energy and forget the illusion of being a person in this material world. There is the concept of God as the order carrier, the more fruitive attitude that yes, there is a God, everything comes from God, therefore we will go to God and get what we want. And the mystics, they see God as the source of the mystic powers that they may desire. And there are many different ways of looking at God. Also from an atheistic perspective, they had a middle point where they thought, okay, maybe God created the universe, but now it's here and he can't do anything about it. He's on the outside and we're stuck on the inside. There's so many ways of looking at God. Krishna is pointing to the fact of him being neutral here. Because that's also something we hear. If there is a God, why are we suffering in this world? Why doesn't God do something about it? But this world is a very special place. This is the place we go when we don't want to see God. We don't want to see God's influence. And therefore, there are many reasons, of course, but this world is set up like that all the activities we do, they create our future. And then when we step onto that future, we can't just say, oh, we didn't want this. It's like if you put your hand in a fire and then you're upset that the fire is burning you. Well, the first time you may be innocent, you may not know that fire burns, but you realize very quickly that fire is not something to play with. And also lifetime after lifetime, it's also not so that God leaves us alone and we make all these mistakes and we have all these problems. Because if we do turn to him, he's supplying all the different religions, all the different scriptures, all the different spiritual teachers, so we can catch on again. But he doesn't really play favorites, he doesn't really meddle in our lives, and he especially doesn't take on with our activities, we take on karmic reactions. And God doesn't take on karmic reactions because he's not under the laws of his own energies. He's the person the energies are coming from him. Both the material energy and the spiritual energy, everything's coming from him. A purport. One should not think in this connection that the Supreme Personality of God has no engagement. In his spiritual world, he's always engaged. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Atma Ramasya Tasyati Prakriti Nasamagama. He's always involved in his eternal blissful spiritual activities, but he has nothing to do with his material activities. Material activities are being carried on by his different potencies. The Lord is always neutral in the material activities of the created world. This neutrality is mentioned here with the word Udasinavat. Although he has control over every minute detail of material activity, he's sitting as if neutral. The example can be given of a high court judge sitting on his bench. By his order, so many things are happening. Someone is being hanged, someone is being put into jail, someone is awarded a huge amount of wealth, but still he's neutral. He has nothing to do with all that gain and loss. Similarly, the Lord is always neutral, although he has his hand in every sphere of activity. In the Vedanta Sutra 2.134, it is stated, Vaishamya Naigrinyena. He is not situated in the dualities of the material world. He is transcendental to these dualities. Nor is he attached to the creation and annihilation of this material world. The living entities take their different forms in the various species of life according to their past deeds, and the Lord doesn't interfere with them. So when we think of activities, when we think of karma, we're generally in this conception of this world. We do activities, whatever we do put out in this world, we will receive the results either in this life or in the next. And all of our individual karmas fit together in this world so that they connect to each other to create the exact result that is warranted for each and every one of us. And Krishna's activities are not of that nature at all. But here Prabhupada is quick to point out that this doesn't mean that Krishna is impersonal or inactive. It simply means he's not under the laws of this material world. And he's not like we are. We have something we want, we strive for it, and in the process of acting to achieve something that we desire, we may make so many mistakes and create so many problems that we will have to deal with. Krishna has no problems because there's no illusion. Krishna understands the full picture at all times. And also he's not in illusion. I'm saying he's not in illusion, and also he's not in illusion, because his activities are on the platform of reality. And that reality is actually open to all of us. And that's why we're here reading the Bhagavad-gita, because we want to get back to that reality. And we somehow or another, we took the wrong left, and now we're in this world and we don't see the exit. So Bhagavad-gita has the exit. It has the understanding of the place we came from, and it has the understanding of the place we are in. But all of this rests on our connection to Krishna. So in this chapter we get to know Krishna better. And we see that his activities are not of this variety, because all of our activities are limited by our material body, by our senses, by the element of time, the time that pushes always into the next phase. Whenever we get the hang of being a cute baby, we're suddenly a child, and we're supposed to go to school and learn things. And once we understand that in our environment, we're pushed out to the to the real world, as they say. We have to get a job and so many things. And once we figure that one out, then we're suddenly too old and we don't have the energy. And then we'll have to figure out what's next. And then we die. Of course, we don't die. The soul never dies. So Krishna's activities are not forced by time that drives you forward and suddenly ends it all. Either you die or the people around you die. I'm coming to this age now when, people are not dying all the time. But it's like it's not a surprise anymore when someone dies, because it's part of life in this world. Krishna's spiritual existence is not like that. There is no force of time. There is only, I shouldn't say the force of desire, but Krishna desires something, it's automatically a fact. The living entity in the spiritual world has a desire in Krishna's service, and it's all there. It's all there. All these activities, how Krishna is enjoying. As the Brahma Samhita is saying here, he's always involved in his eternal blissful spiritual activities, but he has nothing to do with his material activities. So there is no force. There's nothing making God do anything. And for us, the living entities, in the real sense, that freedom is also there for us. Because in a loving relationship, when somebody serves Krishna out of love, there's no force. There's only our desire to please Krishna, and Krishna's desire to reciprocate with us. And that's his capacity as God, that all of that fits in the spiritual world. And those of us who somehow or another had separate desires, he has also given us this material world, but he is never bound by it. Just like I'm sure this example has come up, like if you have a country and you have certain laws, and some people, for different reasons, are not able to live within the structure of the law, well, there's a prison. But the government is not bound by the prison. But the person who's inside the prison find out at every step they are bound. There are so many rules, there are so many restrictions. So this material world is a little bit like that. And once you're in the prison, once you're kind of it's like a universe to itself, that world, where things that people who have a more ordinary, projective of their life can't even understand how you can live like that. And somebody who has gone into that sort of life, it's very difficult to get out of it, because their past will follow them wherever they go. And so with us, once we're in this material world, we get entangled here. We get conditioned here. We start to see this existence as normal. And therefore, we want to read the Bhagavad-gita. And we want to kind of train our eyes into seeing how the normality of spiritual love for God is possible even here and now. And how our conditionings, and these conditionings are creating so much trouble because we're different. And we take different things as for normal, and we have different desires and needs, and they clash, and we create friction. And especially in this age of Kali, it's very prominent. So we come back to Krishna, and in this material world he's neutral. He allows us to follow our desires and also to receive our karma, and that's what creates the backdrop of this material existence, but he's never far away. We just have to kind of learn how to see him. So that's what we're trying to do with our Bhagavad-gita. Thank you so much. Please leave any questions and comments for me. I very much appreciate the few times they appear. Information in the box below. New videos mostly every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.